After another week of budget negotiations, the message to the nation seems to be we are stuck at square one, and that is just one of the problems for the Obama administration. Joining me now here in the studio is Mark Landler, White House correspondent for the New York Times, Margaret Carlson, columnist for the Bloomberg View, and National Journal congressional correspondent Chris Frates. Thank you all very much for being with us. We could use Officer DePrimo, I think, to solve some of the budget problems.
Everywhere.
A little Christmas spirit and that Powerball couple from Missouri, this amazing couple who one was laid off, the other just finally got a job, and now they've got more than $200 million before taxes.
The cheerful part of the news.
The cheerful part of the news. Let's emphasize that.
Now let's move to the other part.
Margaret, for the uncheerful part of the news.
Thank you.
A lot of this is shadow boxing, but there is an undercurrent here of both sides playing a game of chicken, and the markets are sitting there and at any moment could decide, hey, this deal is not going to get done, and give all of us a big
When you get the 700-point drop in the Dow Jones average, it will focus attention the way the fiscal cliff is not focusing attention. The report that Mitch McConnell laughed yesterday when Tim Geithner presented the White House position, this is the Mitch McConnell who said, my main goal is to defeat the president, not give him a second term.
How's that work?
Senator McConnell, second term is here. Things have changed. And the Obama of the last term, where he was reaching out, offering to negotiate from the middle, is he's going to put out there what he wants because he won, and there is not a chance of defeating him now, at least in an election. And I don't think on this issue, I don't think on the issue of middle-class tax cuts, Republicans want to go forward saying we raise taxes on the middle class.
But Chris, doesn't the White House have to be a little bit more specific about what's in that $400 billion of Medicare cuts? I mean, they're trying to smoke out what the Republicans are willing to go for, but each side is very suspicious, understandably, that they will then get hammered publicly.
Well, that's right. And the Democrats on the Hill and in the White House will tell you that we don't want to be the face of tax increases and of entitlement cuts. So they're saying to Republicans, hey, we have a budget here, there's $400 billion worth of cuts. We can start there. But if you have a better idea, then show it to us. And both sides are very, very wary of because they understand the ads, showing their hand, and they understand the ads that would be run if you were to say, if John Boehner were to get up there and say, okay, we want to take these kind of cuts, we want to raise the entitlement age on Medicare, and we're going to hurt Granny and Grandpa. And that's a big problem, I think, for Republicans. And the White House has come out and been the most specific so far. That plan that Geithner took to the Hill is the most specificity we've seen from either leader. And the Republicans have not said, here are the loopholes that we think we could close. Here's the hard cap we could put on there. So there is a feeling now, where does the Republicans in Congress go? Just a few minutes ago, the Speaker said, we're at a stalemate. And there is a sense, and Democrats feel like 30 days out, nobody's going to show their hand. Chuck Schumer yesterday said, hey, we understand Republicans aren't going to love this, but Democrats like to tell you on the Hill that the elections have consequences. In 2010, they were forced into $1 trillion worth of cuts through the super committee, and they feel like they won this go-round, and you're going to have to work with us on taxes.
Now, Mark Landler, the last thing the president needs while he's trying to negotiate all of this is a controversy with the Hill, with Senate Republicans over Susan Rice. Here he's trying to craft this foreign policy team. They want to announce several of them at a time next week. That may not happen if they can't resolve. Is he going to proceed with Susan Rice? What is your sense?
Well, my sense is that he wants to. He's always long wanted to, and I think he remains behind her. But, I have to say, for her, probably going back to the UN yesterday and being part of the vote on the Palestinian motion for enhanced status was the best part of her week.
Which was a stinging rebuke, as the New York Times called it.
Given what had happened to her on Monday and Tuesday on the Hill, where I think she has to have felt like that was close to a disaster for her. Not so much the first three senators she met, whose opposition to her was well known, but when you have Susan Collins, a moderate from Maine, who might have been thought of as an ally for both her and the White House, come out and express deep reservations, she has a really tough hill to climb. And what you're beginning to see for her is a series of almost daily revelations, whether it's investments that she and her husband have in companies that have done business with Iran, investments in Canadian energy companies that are connected to the Keystone Pipeline. I mean, what we're seeing is basically has all the hallmarks of a tough confirmation battle before her name's even been put into nomination. And so she's effectively fighting this daily drip of revelations and research that's being dug up about her as she tries to get herself on an even keel, not knowing, frankly, yet whether the president's going to go ahead and put her name in. It's a very tough situation.
When you look at this also, there are other things in play. They're thinking about recognizing the Syrian opposition. They're thinking about bilateral talks to try to test the resolve of the Ayatollah and see whether they can negotiate something with Iran. There are a lot of foreign impediments to this domestic agenda.
No question, and I think Hillary Clinton's saying that she's willing to stick around for a while longer to see a successor confirmed. I wonder whether she's really going to have to make good on that pledge, because this may have to drag out a little bit longer than the White House had planned.
We're going to have to leave it there. Mark Landler, Margaret Carlson, and Chris, thanks so much.